This video is the 5th video in a series that is designed to help you give useful information to Jehovah's Witnesses so they can make an informed decision about their religious beliefs. It is intended to do for the witnesses what you would want done for you if you were a witness. Throughout this series, you must keep in mind the principles of Colossians chapter 4, verses 5 and 6, and 1 Peter 3, verse 15, and follow those principles, being gracious and respectful of their beliefs. You are studying with the Jehovah's Witnesses in their favorite publication, this book, What Does the Bible Really Teach? Reading each paragraph and giving your thoughts. This video series discusses only those issues that are in this book that are contrary to the mainstream evangelical community. In each video, I give you background information and then suggest what to say and what questions to ask. As you read the rest of their book, let the witness know that their explanation is acceptable within the mainstream evangelical community. You'll introduce each disputable issue by saying something like, well, I remember from chapter 1 of this book, paragraphs 4 and paragraph 23, that I should ask questions and to continue to search for satisfying answers because I want the truth from the Bible. So I have a question. There's an issue in this paragraph that I wish to understand better. The way it is worded is a new thought to me, and my religious community explains it differently, so I need your help to sort this out. That will let you to proceed into the issue. And this issue in the 5th video is on page 41, paragraph 11 of this book, and it's about the issue of the title, Only-begotten, and how does it apply to Jesus. The paragraph says, there is something else that makes this Son special. He is the only begotten Son. And they refer to John 3:16. And they claim this means Jesus was God's first created thing. The answer is, well, I'm going to give you some background information and then we'll go into what specifically to say, but the answer can be seen from looking at other translations. This is the New Century Version. This is the New Living Translation. And this is printing of the NIV, New International Version, very popular. All three of these Bibles read at John 3:16. They don't say only begotten Son. They say one and only Son. The one and only Son. And if you remember, in this book, this paragraph, the Jehovah's Witnesses introduced Jesus by saying he is a most precious Son. He is a special Son. And that's what these translations are saying. He's the one and only. He's special. He's precious. It isn't saying, as they want to imply that it means, the only begotten, as if he was begotten, given birth, and brought about, and that he was created, and that he was a created thing. We're going to give them some information. I need to give you some background information to know that what this word means. Monogamous, which has been translated in the past as only begotten. Scholars don't think that that's precisely what it means, but that it means the one and only. And you can look at scriptures to see that it means special in some way, not necessarily being created. We're going to look at Hebrews 5:5, chapter 5, verse 5. Now this is the Watchtower's translation. I'm going to read Hebrews 5:5 here. And it says, so too the Christ did not glorify himself by becoming a high priest, but, in brackets, was glorified by him, who spoke with reference to him, you are my Son, I have become your Father. Now, it doesn't mention begotten here at all. Well, if you look at their Greek Bible, you find the word Father is not in there. At Hebrews 5:5, and I'm going to show you here, at Hebrews 5:5, it says generated. This is a Greek word in the same family as only begotten. It's the word begotten. And it's not the word Father, but yet their translation says Father. Here, other translations, like my New American Standard, read differently. It says there, so Christ did not glorify himself so as to become a high priest, but he also said to him, you are my Son, today I have begotten you. There's the word begotten, same verse. And this is a reference from Psalm 2:7. So we're following the thread of the Greek word that means begotten, which we find at John 3:16, which is the verse that the Watchtower is focusing on here. That Greek word, which can be translated begotten, is being misunderstood by them. And I'm going to show you that it doesn't mean created. It means the special, the precious one, the one and only. Because we're now looking at Hebrews 5:5, which is a quotation from Psalm 2:7. Now I am going to turn to Psalm 2:7 in their Bible here, okay? And it's Psalm 2:7, which is Hebrews 5:5 is quoting it. So we're going to turn to Psalm 2:7 to see what it is saying, and that will help understand this, because it helped to explain this. Psalm 2:7 from their Bible says, "Let me refer to the decree of Jehovah. He has said to me, you are my son. I today," when? "I today, I have become your father." It's again begotten. I have begotten you. That's the concept of it. Their translation says, "I have become your father," which is fine. It's still the same point. When is that day? When is the day that the Father could say to Jesus, "I today have become your father. You are my son"? When is that? Is that the day he was created, which is what they're implying? No. This Psalm 2:7 is explained in the New Testament. We saw where it was quoted at Hebrews 5, chapter 5, verse 5. But it's explained in Acts 13. I'm going to use their translation, and I'm going to turn to Acts 13. Okay. It's Acts 13, 33, and 34. In Acts 13, says this, that God has entirely fulfilled it to us, their children, and that he resurrected Jesus. He what? He resurrected Jesus. He didn't say he created Jesus. He resurrected Jesus, even as it is written in the second Psalm, "You are my son, I have become your father this day." So Psalm 2:7 is referring to the day Jesus was resurrected. That is the day that he was exalted. That is the day that he fulfilled these prophecies to become the Son, to become the one and only, to become the begotten, to become the firstborn. Those titles are speaking of his rank and his priority, not to a time when he was created, but it's actually, as it says here, this is when he was resurrected, that these titles were fully placed upon him. So you can write on a piece of paper or in the margin these verses, these references to these three scriptures: Hebrews 5:5, Psalm 2:7, and Acts 13, 33, and 34. That's all you need. And then remembering that other translations do not read like the Watchtower's Bible, such as the NIV. So this is what you will say, that you've read this, and there's something in here that's a little bit different than what you've heard before. It's different from what your religious community would say regarding this verse of John 3:16. The Bibles that we use don't read that way. They don't say the only begotten, but say the one and only Son. So there doesn't seem to be that connection here with the idea that Jesus is created, that he is the one and only thing that's created. Rather, he's the one and only Son, not because he was created, but because of his rank and priority. And there are some verses that my community refer to support that translation and that concept. And that is these three verses, Hebrews 5:5, where it speaks of Jesus being this begotten one. It's quoting Psalm 2:7, which refers to him being begotten on a particular day. And Acts 13, 33, and 34, which tells which day it is. So what you do is you tell the witnesses that there are these three scriptures that you're trying to put together, that your community says show that Jesus was raised from the dead, and on that day these titles come to play and are fulfilled in him as being the one and only, the precious. Okay? And ask them, can you help me understand this? Is this correct? What is the meaning of these verses and this Greek word? and let them explain it, ponder it, and say, all right, I will think upon this. Don't argue with them, just move on to the next subject.